Thanks, Fred. And today I will show some different pass skills.
Okay. So Perry's going to show you a few passes. We're going to start with the near side moving stick pass, popularized by people like Dave Gummison and Tom Yore. And we're going to start off with some wall passing. Go right ahead. Once again, Perry, what you'll notice here is a lot of very fast left to right movement, a very hard catch. And why it's called the stick pass is because literally the ball seems to stick to the man when you're catching it. Very, very hard to defend. And if they overcompensate and either stick on the wall or race you to the wall, then you have the lane option. And popular over here, we call it the Tom Yore pass, is the second lane option. Great. Now, if you stop the ball, our good friend Billy Pappas, this is his style of pass. We're going to start off with the wall first. To make this pass rather legal, you must touch a second man. So the stopped ball, near side, stick series, popularized by Billy Pappas. And if they compensate over here and take away your wall, you have the lane. And finally, our another friend, Tony Spreedeman, is very famous for his far side tic-tac stick series. We're going to do it in the near side, but again, stick series, starting with the wall. And then the lane with a bump up, then come up. And finally, second lane. Great. Now, what differentiates that from the brush pass? Whereas the stick pass always has a very fast lateral motion, the brush pass typically has a slow to medium fast motion, and how you get the different options is by positioning the ball back and being able to brush in either a downward or an upward motion. Now, what we mean by downward typically, do a down pass for me, Perry. Down pass is typically out towards the wall. So here comes a downhill brush pass. And if you go more towards the center of the wall, this is an uphill brush pass. What makes it a little bit different from the stick pass is this is predominantly an angled pass, whereas the stick pass is typically a straight pass. The straight pass having names like wall pass and lane pass, whereas the brush pass towards the outside is called a downhill pass, and towards the inside is called the uphill pass. Typically the ball must be further back. So the setup you see now is for a stick series, and Perry's set up now for a brush pass. You'll notice the ball goes further back. Brush passing, move the ball back, yeah, there we go. Typically moving much, much slower. Great. Want you to notice now the catch. The catch typically always starts against the wall. So get ready for the catch, Perry. We'll take the man out of the way here. So on the catch, you typically want to either have your front toe forward, so like this, good, in the catching position, or you want to start off maybe here and then move to the better catching position. You definitely do not want to have the man back here and keep it here. It's very, very hard to control the ball. Either come forward and stay forward or move forward and smother that ball. Just do a couple of wall passes with a nice strong catch. Great. You'll notice how he actually gave with it. He actually moved his toe forward, smothered the ball, no chance he's going to lose it. One more, Perry. Now, a little bit trickier in when we do the uphill catch, he has to move his man to the catching position. So an uphill catch. Great. Your uphill can be extremely steep, a little bit steep, or not steep at all. But definitely you want to have a nice, steep, very, very firm downhill. Let's try a couple of really hard downhills, Perry. So we'll set the man up here. He wants to go around the man, almost like a wall pass, but because it's angled, we call it a downhill. Go ahead. This time, Perry, move the ball to where you're going to pass it and stop it there and just show the downward brush. So just move. And then the uphill. Now, if you've already played competitive foosball, you probably know that if you pass a stopped ball, that's illegal. Well, the exact ruling is this. If the ball is stopped, it must be passed immediately. But go back to our last drill, Perry. If you definitely have the ball here for longer than even a half a second, this is definitely illegal. So why we're doing it is we want to just practice the basics. Go ahead again, Perry. That'll let you just practice the last piece again and again and again, so it's like second nature. And a couple of uphills. Again, this is illegal. This is just for practice purposes. Great. If that's too much, and it definitely will be too much for brand new players, you can even also cheat and bring your catching man up first. Great. So step one is just practicing uphills and downhills. Step two would be start with your catching rod against the wall. And why we start with a catching rod against the wall, typically most people's downhill is faster. So we don't want to slow it down by not having the man there already. We want to have it so fast that the man is there automatically, already there, ready. People typically have a little bit slower uphill, so we typically move to the uphill catch, which will be over here, but we're already in place for the downhill catch. That's what most people tend to do. So now we're going to move to stage two, where you move to the uphill catch. Go ahead, Perry, and do that. Great. And now, of course, the full-on pass is going to start off on your second man on the 5-bar. You're going to roll it slowly over to your passing man, pass it over, and catch it up to the moving catching man. The full pass. Go ahead, Perry. Great. And what I recommend for people learning how to pass is you want to do, say, a number, whether it's 10, whether it's 100, keep track of it. Were you able to do 8 out of 10? Were you able to do 9 out of 10? Like 80 out of 100? How many of those can you execute with no one blocking you except just your practice rod like you have now? Go ahead, Perry. Just knock off a few. So that's a miss. You definitely want to pass firm enough that the person who's opposing you doesn't have time to react and just wildly go back and forth left to right. You definitely want to have the striking man close to the ball so that you don't show your intention. You want to be nice and relaxed and not show any extra tension just before you pass. We call that a tell or a telegraph. You don't want to expose your intention of when you're passing or where you're passing. And you'll notice Perry has a very, very soft catch. Great. What I definitely recommend not doing is coming back to catch the ball in a pin. So just show that very, very slowly, Perry, catching it and coming back and pinning it. Yes. If you pass that way, it promotes. What you'll want to do is pass slower to make your catch easier. And we want the pass to be as strong as possible. So once again, don't recommend passing that way. We recommend passing and catching this way. Go ahead, Perry. Great. Now, the next thing we're going to look at is the chip pass. So the chip series differs from the brush series in where you strike the ball. The brush is always struck on the front of the toe, whereas the chip is struck typically on the side of the toe. Yes, the angle. Now, the chip series by itself is not a good pass unless you do it in conjunction with another pass. Why? Because a chip can only go in one direction. So in this case, Perry set up for it and do one. In this case, from the right to the left. You can do a chip from left to right, but you have to reposition the ball on the other side. So the chip pass is never done from the same setup in two directions. That's why you have to have a complementary pass, typically like a very hard brush down. Go ahead, Perry. To complement the other side of the chip pass option. Now, the chip pass has 4 variations. Option 1 is where you quickly move the passing man to the side and you chip on an uphill direction. Go ahead with option 1, Perry. And option 2 is where you stay on the wall and you come with a very hard down. Option 3 is where you move out to show as if you're going to go down. You come back to the wall and again do an up. Option 3. And option 4, you come off the wall, you go right back down in sort of a double pump down. Go ahead, option 4. The chip pass is a terrific pass to learn. A lot of people haven't seen it. It's particularly powerful from the 2 to the 5. And if you can do it consistently very, very steep, it can drive your opponent crazy. So the chip pass, again, must be done in conjunction. It's a great pass to learn. Go ahead, Perry. Great. That's the chip pass. Now, in most passes, you can break it down to the different components. Let's go to the brush pass. The first component of the brush pass is setup. Go ahead, Perry. Setup should be consistent. Doesn't have to be stopped. You can have a moving setup, you can have a stop setup. But your position left to right, front to back should be consistent so that you have a consistent roll, a consistent strike, a consistent catch. So first of all, you have your setup. Typically in a brush pass, you set it up on the second man, and that allows you to begin by moving it left to right and having it be a legal pass because you touch 2 men. So, second component is the lateral. Go with the lateral, Perry, but don't pass it. So just left to right. What you should notice in the brush pass, the ball is definitely further back typically than on a stick series, and the ball is moving much slower. In fact, the ball might even come to a stop just as it did here without touching the wall. Go again, Perry, to setup, and again to lateral, but don't pass. Great. The third component is the fake. Go ahead, Perry. Fake, 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 fake. Good. Keep the ball there, Perry. Fake, 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 fake. The point of the fake is to get the person who wants to jump prematurely, and you go the other way. Or the person who is frozen and isn't telling you that, you prove to yourself, yeah, they're frozen, they are not moving, and you go the other way. So what you want to do is you want to fake, get them to commit one way or the other, and you want to go the other way. So let's do the full 3 pieces without a pass. Let's do a setup, Perry. Let's do a lateral, have the ball die, add some fakes, and go ahead. Perfect. When I'm teaching the brush series, people who just do not get it typically fail on positions 1 and 2 and 3. Positions 4 and 5, which is striking and catching, are usually all they ever practice. And the people who do not do the brush series well typically don't practice 1, 2, and 3 enough. They don't make it consistent, and their brush pass is not as good. Perry, let's go to position 3, where the ball stopped. Okay, now this time you're not going to do fake. All you're going to do is you're going to strike it down, or you're going to strike it up, and you're going to catch. So go ahead, strike it down or up. This is step 4, strike. Step 5 is catch. Once again, Perry, go to step 3. And this time do an uphill, strike, and catch. Great. I really like my students to practice independently. 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Set up, lateral, set up, lateral, set up, lateral. Then I add step 3. Set up, lateral, fake, 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 fake. Then I go to a stop ball, step 4, step 5. Strike, catch, strike, catch, strike, catch. And only once they can do all those different components quite well do we really focus then on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Perry, set up, step 2, lateral, step 3, fake, step 4, strike, catch, beautiful. Perry's been passing this way for a number of years. Definitely expect brush passing to take you a while to learn, but of all the 3 different passing series that people utilize, it's considered one of the easier ones to learn to get up to a very high level quickly. Here's the brush pass once again. Set up, lateral, fake, strike, catch. Beautiful job. Thanks, Perry. So that's it for the passing series. Our next component is choosing a backup, passing, and shooting series. Now, we said earlier the big 3, pull shot, snake shot, and European front toe, win most tournaments. You can pick, however, whatever backup series that you want, that you love. For sure learn one of the big 3. But if you also want to learn a push shot, a back pin, a tic-tac, a pull kick, a push kick, we highly recommend it. But in addition to, not instead of. We're going to call that a backup series. When do you use it? Your primary series you use against most goalies. When you run into someone who's extremely good at stopping your main series, you've worked it, you've tried the options, you're not giving up too soon, you realize you're not going to win against this opponent with your main series. Go to your backup series. Hopefully your backup series is so different that the goalie does not have the same ability of stopping. So I would say that the snake shot and the European front toe are a little bit similar. They're both shots of deception with ball movement left and right. The pull shot is a pretty different shot, as is the push shot. So if you choose a complementary, and what I mean by that is a different look and feel of a shot, then hopefully the same goalie will have difficulty in one of your two series. Choosing the right backup series for a shot or a pass is a very, very good option to have. A little bit more limited is a backup passing series because there's only 3. But if you have, say, one of the stick series to go with a brush, the other benefit is you can often combine those. And a chip series is good not only in the 5-bar, it's also good in passing 2 to 5. Backup series is a very beneficial thing for a forward to have. In the previous steps regarding how to be a good goalie, we looked at defenses. We now want to mention as a forward you must turn that around. You must be able to read defenses. The first step of that, of course, is recognizing what the defenses are. That is the biggest reason why we had becoming a good goalie come before becoming a good forward. So that you can now take what you already know as a good goalie, turn that around, and know how to read defenses. What defense are they doing? Are they timing you? Are they racing you? What's happening? Why am I not scoring? Take a timeout, talk it over with your partner. Try to get a feel for what the defense is. Is it being successful? Is it not? If it's being successful, what change can you make to now make your shots or your passes more successful? So reading the defenses is absolutely critical. So you use the right shooting strategy in choosing the correct pass or the correct shot. And then after you've made the mental decision that this is the change you're going to make, all you focus in on is just reading and executing. There's 2 types of reading. One is reading live reading. The other is pre-reading. Live reading means you're reading up to the last second and then deciding and executing based upon live information. What are they doing? What are they doing? What are they doing? Decide, execute. Pre-reading means you look over a shot or a pass and you're reading what they're doing, what they're doing, what they're doing. But their switch is so fast. When they change from one defensive posture to another, you don't have time to live read and change. It's just too fast. So you commit ahead of time. You pre-read. You know that if you rock to the middle, they're going to move one defensive man, and without even looking at it, without live reading, you go back and you shoot it. So there's pre-reads you can do to decide before that if I do this little step, I know this other step is going to be open. Of course, pre-reading is gambling. It's taking a bet that if this happens once, it's going to happen again and again and again. Maybe against a good goalie it'll happen once or twice, but against a great pro master goalie, just be aware that as you're going to keep reading defenses and pre-reading and deciding, they're going to keep making adjustments to their defense. So keep reading, and maybe that forms a new pre-read that you decide ahead of time to choose. That's it for all of our topics for being a good forward. Congratulations. If you followed our advice and learned to be a good goalie first, and then practice diligently in how to be a good forward, if you're good at both, you will be very good at singles. What you might want to still add to the mix is a series called Passing 2 to 5. Now that you've covered all the parts, all the steps, all the components, these are pieces that are flying around just like the Earth is. And the gravity that keeps us all grounded on the Earth, the thing that keeps all of your foosball play together, the string holding the pieces together, is practice and playing. Practicing on your own, with a practice partner, playing either specialty games like 5-bar war, goalie war, forward shootout, playing regular singles and doubles, reviewing these DVDs, reviewing your Inside Foods DVDs, your Kazum information. All these various things will help you to keep your pieces together. Congratulations and keep on foozing.